Kate BYP with a groovy poolside video. It's rough duty today, but to explain to you how a fault in an old RF power amplifier, maybe a 30, 40, 50-year-old amp with a new tube, can end up utterly destroying a modern solid-state transceiver. When I was working on the TR3, I'd found bad grounds on the load capacitor in the Pi network. The load capacitors across the antenna jack, basically. The ground contacts were heavily oxidized, and in one place, at a setting of 5, there was basically a dead shaft. There's just no force on the shaft. That meant that the springs were worn out. So I took them out, partly deoxidized them, set them back in, didn't solder them back in, and was measuring across the load capacitor with a LCR meter, about 400 and some picofarad. And occasionally the meter would just read OL, just suddenly that contact would break. And I wanted to see what would happen in circuit operating. So I fired a transmitter up, and boy did I find out. Well, let's say that plate's normally 1200 volts peak to peak in the TR3. And let's say 200 on the antenna jack, so it's a 6-to-1 voltage step down going this way. Well, if there's suddenly a 1,000 volt transient here, well, that might get stepped up to 6,000 volts here. The JB6 tubes in that transceiver are good for 6,800 plus and 1,500 minus. And what happened, and I was watching when it happened, is that 5 turns on a plate inductor vaporized when they arced over to the edge of the stator plates on the plate capacitor that are grounded. An arc gap of most of 3/4 of an inch. Common figure for free air arcing is 10 kV per inch. So that's about on the order of what would be if that was somewhere around 6 kV on the plate. There was a ham on 40 meters months ago talking about how he was on the air with his solid state rig and his amplifier tube amp, and suddenly everything quit. And he took the transceiver apart and said it looked like it was hit by lightning inside. There was nothing left of it. That's possible. Lightning damage, in my experience from doing a lot of consumer repair with lightning damage, is black burning. But he didn't indicate anything about lightning. And I want to show you how something as seemingly innocent and really hard to find as that bad load capacitor ground can cause that. If there's suddenly a very high voltage transient here and a tube breaks over and arcs plate to grid, and the exciter's across grid to cathode, then that high transient's across the exciter. And especially in these new solid state surface mount rigs, they have bandpass filter coupling from the amplifier transistor to the antenna jack. And these surface mount capacitors are a particular problem because they're very expensive. I think they're single layer ceramic. SLCCs, I think is the term. Ordinary ceramic capacitors are only good for a few hundred kc, maybe a megahertz or two. The cheaper ceramic capacitor dielectrics aren't as good. They have high dissipation factors of maybe a couple percent or more. That leads to a lot of internal heating. And these are made of rather small parts to save space. The good high-frequency capacitors, I priced one for the network and the amplifier I'm designing for 800 watts. It's $40. $40 for a single ceramic capacitor at 800 series. Very low dissipation factor, very high voltage. But most of these ceramics are only good for up to about a kV, and many of the surface mounts are less. So if the output of that transceiver is only normally a couple hundred volts, you don't expect 3 kV capacitors in here. They'd be very expensive and bulky. So these capacitors aren't going to have a lot of excess voltage rating. Go dumping a big transient on it from an old amplifier, and that may break down, cause leakage, punch through, damage one of these capacitors. And that's going to lead to failure. One of the broadcast engineer hams I know said he built a network like this using surface mounts, and he had trouble with overheating. One of them actually blew up. So, word to the wise, never ever use a 30, 40, 50-year-old amplifier without either somehow fixing these grounds on these capacitors or replacing them in a TR3. I grounded the shafts in a different way. It's nearly impossible to take these air variables apart. They're staked in. And so I grounded the shaft instead of relying on the little thin ground springs in between, because not only are they badly oxidized, but they'll lose their spring force over time. Now, the smart money to guard against this, and it's next to impossible to properly rebuild one of these air variables. It's in the TR3, I grounded the shafts separately outside of the capacitors. But smart money would make a small box between the solid-state transceiver and amplifier with a couple of SOs and maybe a 400-volt gas discharge tube or a set of arc points. If nothing else, put an SO three-way T connector between the two, and on the third part of the T, maybe solder in a pin with a piece of wire and bend that wire over and make an arc gap. But this can cause total destruction of a transceiver, the final amplifier and the front end of the receiver. These new receivers are diode switched, and transients like that will just turn those diodes into vapor. They'll do nothing. So that's the end of the radio. So there you go from the pool, KBYP.